as. Be the relationship that you want to see him in. And, on the flip side of that, if you're planning your escape, right?
Yeah.
If you're not in a good relationship, because look, at the end of the day, there are some people that just really aren't meant to be together for whatever reason. And, certainly I'm a big proponent of trying to work things out rather than throw things out, because we live in too much of a disposable society. So I'm very much about fighting to make things work and doing what you can to salvage your relationship both. But again, some people just aren't meant to be together. So I will say this, because I've been around some people who have had divorces, some that have, they still get together on weekends for dinner with the family. Mm-hmm. There's others that they can't see each other, they don't want to see each other in the same room. Right. The reality of it is, if you're at that point in your relationship, then you've got to remember to be civil. Remember that you love that person. Remember that you committed to that person to love and cherish whatever. And of course it didn't work. That's fine. But just remember, respect is a beautiful thing. And at the end of the day, keep in mind, the same way that we're giving examples to our children as to the kind of relationship, the kind of work ethic, the kind of person that you want to be, remember that on your way out of the relationship is almost just as important, because how can they expect to be in a relationship? And if the relationship goes bad, how's that going to look? Is it going to look like fire and brimstone and, mom and dad want to, off each other? Or is it, mutual respect and everybody goes their own way and you try to still keep civil and live your own lives? Because we have all got the right to be happy. And sometimes, people are happier apart than they are together. And hopefully that's not your case. But if it is what it is. Not right. You, Bill, but, those listening.
And that's it. I mean, we know statistically that over 50% of marriages end in divorce, so it is, unfortunately in this day and age, it is a coin toss. Your odds are a coin toss right now. And if you want to stack the odds in your favor, you use these rules to basically ensure the outcomes you want to see, with that deeper appreciation, with that ability to sort of pull people in. But I agree with you. At some point, if you just know that they're in a toxic relationship and it's not working out, that's also something we want to model for our kids, that it basically did everything. When my father divorced my mom, it crushed me as a kid, 12 years old. It was my whole world just got pulled outside from under me. But at the same time, I so respect him for making that hard choice. And now as a father myself, I see what he had to go through in order to walk out of that relationship. And what for me was just a devastating blow in the family dynamic. As I grew up and grew older, I realized, he was really doing this as much for me as he was doing it for himself, because the relationship had failed. They were not in a good place. And being in a toxic relationship and modeling that for your kids is no good either. So and sometimes you got to call it when you see it. And so for him, it was really much, I need to be out of this relationship and I need to go find, the one person I'm supposed to be with. And he did. And so my dad remarried about 2 years after they got divorced, and they've been in that relationship ever since. So it's like, I think, we make mistakes and we find the ways to do it, but he learned from that and he applied it, and it's really been a blissful marriage for him ever since, which is amazing, right?
Absolutely. You know what? We all learn from our mistakes, and
totally.
We all have to be grateful. There's, one of my mentors says, you've got to be grateful for the good and the bad. Right? You've got to, if you're going to blame someone, you got to blame someone effectively, right? You can't just blame them for the bad stuff that happens in their life. So if you've been in a bad relationship, you've been in a toxic relationship, maybe your parents had a bad relationship growing up, sometimes, it is what it is. But you know what? You learn how not to be.
Yes.
You learn what you don't want in a relationship. You learn what you will not tolerate in a relationship. And I will go one step further, and we'll probably start wrapping it up with this because, it's going into almost another topic. But the reality of it is you get what you tolerate. Yes. And if you're, so you've got to work to get more of what it is that you want. And a lot of those rules that we're talking about, it's the appreciation. It's not keeping score. It's not going to bed angry. It's smiling. It's laughing, going out to dates, with your wife, so you have some, or your husband, so that you have some alone time. It's the ability to just connect with each other and be honest with each other and be playful. I don't know. Do you watch Game of Thrones, Bill?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every episode.
I don't, and I gotta get out and catch up. But the one I've shared this meme before. You'll appreciate this. It's, the guy sitting on the throne, on the bottom it says, "Thou simply shall not pass thy wife in the kitchen without smacking thy bum," or something like that, right? So you got to keep it light. You got to keep it fresh. You got to keep, just keep living and keep enjoying life, because, the meaning of life, in my opinion, is just to be happy. And if you're not happy, then change.
Yeah.
We all have the ability to change, and your happiness is your responsibility. It's no one else's. So
love it. So I want to reinforce what we said earlier, just to come back to this, is that I know the people who are listening to this podcast right now, sometimes it's harder to apply these things in the abstract. And I get that, which is why that's the whole idea of being sage on the stage and then guide on the side. It's like, how do you apply all these principles? My situation's different. You got to hear what I'm dealing with, right? So that's why I go back to the fact that I think if there's any help we want to give to the audience, I'd love to do that, because I think it's something that individually, it's how do I personally apply this to my own situation? That's really powerful. And I have found, as you have, Tony, the coaching modality is such a great way to explore this and really pinpoint, like, what's the thing that's going to support you the most? How is this going to basically support you in terms of your growth? So I will go back and say, billcarmody.com/growth. If anyone needs help and needs support, I definitely want to give that to your audience, because I think what you're doing is amazing. And I would love to be able to help them really feel like they're getting the most out of these sessions and be able to apply it directly to their life. Because if they're able to do that, it's going to be so incredible. If they can be happier and in a deeper relationship with their spouse, this is going to be a much better relationship for everybody, right? Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I welcome you to check me out on Facebook as well, and Instagram. I'm Tony Rodriguez with an S 2.0, Tony Rodriguez 2.0. On Facebook, Tony Rodriguez, again with an S. And you can follow me on Twitter as well. And I have my other page is Get Up and Grow on Facebook. I'm sorry. It's On the Bright Side on Facebook. Get Up and Grow is coming. You can also go to getupandgrow.com. So that's get up, the letter N, grow.com, just like the name of this podcast. And I look forward to connecting with you at another time. Same thing that Bill said. I'm available for a free coaching session to see if it's something that you're interested in working with and developing and growing yourself in your business relationship, in your personal relationship, in the relationship you have with yourself. Again, life is about being happy, and life is it's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get up. So just remember, and every time you get up, you grow. So life is about that. Just get up and grow. Doesn't matter how many times you fall, just get up and grow. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, Tony. It's been a real honor and a privilege. Bill, thank you. I appreciate you. And thank you all for watching and for listening. And I will see you on the next one.
I can do anything. I can reach any goal today. I can do what I want. I can be what I want to be.
Coach on Fire Radio.